What if the problem is not that you think too much? What if the problem is that you do not know where your thoughts are coming from? I think a lot of people today are thinking even more than ever, but they are not thinking clearly. They are spiraling, comparing themselves to others, questioning their life, and wondering what they should do next. Not because they are broken, but they were never given the foundation to organize their thoughts. And in this day and age, it matters even more than ever. We live in a time where everyone is fighting for your attention. Social media wants it, AI can feed it, entertainment distracts it, and everybody has advice for what you should do with it. But if you don't understand your mind, your attention gets pulled in every direction. So whatever ends up getting your attention starts shaping your reality. There's a psychological idea called the frequency illusion, or the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. A simple example I'll use to explain this is called the red cars theory. If someone tells you to look for red cars on your drive to work, suddenly you start realizing red cars were everywhere. But the red cars were probably already there. You just weren't paying attention to them. That is how powerful attention is. Your mind isn't just seeing reality, it is filtering reality. And once your mind has direction, it starts connecting everything to that direction. That is why attention matters. When your mind is conditioned to compare, you will always find reasons to feel left behind. When your mind is insecure, you will keep finding information and evidence that will tell you that you're not enough. But when your mind is trained for self-awareness, you start seeing something deeper. Not just what you think, but where your thoughts come from. And that is why I want to start this series. I'm not going to rush this topic, and just like the red cars, I'm going to lay the foundation and give you awareness before I go in depth in my future videos. So think of this video as a foundation. I'm not trying to just give you one answer. I'm trying to give you a way to think. So take what works for you and apply it to your own life. So let's begin. The framework I want to use for today's video is 4 layers of thinking: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. These have been used as layers in our body for centuries, but I want to twist them into a framework for how we think. We filter reality through what we physically see, emotionally feel, what we mentally believe, and what we spiritually value. Physical thinking is the easiest layer to understand because it deals with visible reality. The body, health, money, and status, for example. These are all things that we can measure, compare, and try to improve in our own lives. But the danger is when everything becomes measurable. That means everything becomes rankable. Who looks better than you? Who makes more money than you? Who is more successful than you? Who is stronger, smarter, more desirable? And when your identity gets stuck in this layer, life can become nothing but comparison and shallow values. Then we move into emotional thinking. Emotional thinking asks, how do I feel? What feelings am I trying to avoid? This is where things get harder to measure because feelings are personal. 2 people can experience the same exact situation and feel completely different about it. And this is a lot where instant gratification comes in. Doom scrolling, gooning, constantly checking your phone. Those are physical actions, but a lot of the times they're emotional escapes. And it makes sense because most people are not chasing instant gratification because they are fulfilled. They are chasing it because they are bored, stressed, lonely, insecure, overwhelmed, or uncomfortable sitting with themselves. So the physical layer says, let me feel better right now. But the emotional layer asks, what feelings am I trying to escape? Then we move into mental thinking, where overthinkers like myself currently reside. Mental thinking asks you, how am I interpreting this? And is my interpretation actually accurate to reality? This is where overthinking usually starts, because you aren't just dealing with what just happened and how you feel. Now you are also dealing with a story that your mind created about reality. Am I actually failing, or did I only start feeling left behind when I compared my life to others? Did they actually disrespect me, or did I interpret it that way because I was insecure? Is my life actually cooked, or am I trapped in one moment and treating it like it's my whole life story? Mental thinking is when you start questioning your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions, your perspectives, and the patterns you keep repeating. Then we move to spiritual thinking. And when I say spiritual, I do not mean religion, but religion does play in a similar role as what our spiritual layer is supposed to be. Spiritual thinking asks us, how do I live? What does this mean beyond my life? What kind of life am I trying to build? What kind of person am I trying to become? This is the hardest layer because it deals with meaning, purpose, values, fulfillment, legacy, morality, and the life that you are creating every day. Think of it like this. Physical thinking might deal with hundreds of external variables. Emotional thinking deals with maybe thousands of variables. Then mental thinking deals with millions, while spiritual thinking is almost infinite. You can kind of understand why society is built on physical and emotional layers, because we can actually put reason behind things. But back to spiritual though. On an individual level, just imagine you are looking at your life in third person. Look at the person you have become over time. What meaning have you brought to yourself, your family, to the world around you? That is spiritual thinking. The reason these filters matters is because a lot of people are using the wrong solution to the problem that they have. Some people have a physical problem, but they try to solve it emotionally, mentally, or maybe even spiritually. They are tired, unhealthy, overstimulated. Maybe they aren't sleeping well, maybe they're not moving too much, they're not eating right. But instead of fixing their body, they search for motivation, reassurance, or a deeper meaning in life. But sometimes the answer is not that deep. Sometimes the answer is simply rest, food, water, sunlight, exercise, and anything else that can get your body back to normal. Honestly, I would recommend watching my previous video on the body because with a tired body, you can't really start training your mind. Then some people have the emotional problem, but they try to solve it physically. They feel lonely, rejected, overwhelmed, insecure, or even empty. So they chase these external factors like pleasure, attention, status, sex, food, shopping, scrolling, or anything that can help them feel better right now. But the real problem is not having a lack of pleasure or joy in their life. The real problem is the feeling that they're trying to escape or avoid. Then some people have a mental problem, but they try to solve it emotionally. They want comfort, validation, or someone to tell them that they are okay. But what they really need is to start questioning the thought that's hurting them. And lastly, some people have a spiritual problem, but they try to solve it physically. They chase money, achievements, beauty, status, success, comfort, and a life that looks good on paper in front of others. But even after obtaining all of those things, they still feel empty inside. Because the real problem is not that they have nothing. The real problem is they don't know what all of it means. And that is exactly why these layers matter. Because if you don't know what layer the problem is coming from, you might go your whole life using the wrong solution. And I'm not saying you should choose one over the other. You honestly need all of them because they all make us who we are. Your body matters, your emotions matter, your thoughts matter, your values matter. But like I said earlier, if you do not know what layer that thought is coming from, your mind can start feeling random and have no direction. You react without understanding why. You compare without knowing what you actually value. You numb yourself without actually knowing what you're avoiding in the first place. You overthink without questioning whether your thought is even accurate. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to break this down layer by layer. Physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Every layer can give us something valuable to life, but they can also mislead us. The question is not which layer is better than the other. The question is, what layer are your thoughts coming from? If you want a place to reflect, ask questions, share ideas, or talk with people who are trying to live their life intentionally, you can join my Discord server in the description below.